Hello, I'm Tyler Kesterson. We live in an age obsessed with television and entertainment media. We Netflix and Hulu and watch seasons of our favorite show in one day. Everyone has their favorite, and I'm here to discuss mine. More specifically, I would like to share about the creator behind some of my favorite shows and the reason behind why I believe she's changing the game of television. For a generation as obsessed with television as we are, I believe we sometimes fail to take a critical look at the shows we are binging on and the people behind those creations. I think television can be a tool for social growth, altering social norms, and seeing the realities of our society behind the lens of a camera. Shonda Rhimes is a woman I believe is accomplishing all of those goals. With shows like Grey's Anatomy and Scandal, Shonda Rhimes is pushing television in a more progressive direction through her multidimensional representation of women, racially diverse casts, and non-stereotypical representations of sexual orientation. As an avid television viewer, and by avid I mean I've seen upwards of 170 television series, I have seen all ranges of television shows. I would say the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm particularly well-versed in Shondaland, or the universe that Shonda Rhimes has created, and I have done a deep research analysis on this particular topic during my studies in the history of American pop culture. Now first, I will discuss how Shonda has created a multidimensional representation of women in her shows, Grey's Anatomy and Scandal. Second, I will examine her two shows for representations of a racially diverse cast. And third, I will analyze the non-stereotypical representation of sexual orientation on her shows. All of the above show that Shonda Rhimes' desire and drive to progress social issues through her television creations is real and pertinent. As I mentioned before, I believe that Shonda has built a universe that represents women as multidimensional and realistically whole people. The main characters in both Grey's Anatomy and Scandal are both women represented as strong and opinionated while still having sexuality and vulnerability. Meredith Grey and Olivia Pope are just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the multidimensional representations of women in these shows. There are characters like Izzy, who's portrayed as beautiful and strong, but caring as well. Christina Yang, who is brilliant and determined and sometimes dry and a little bit mean, but also loves her friends very deeply. And Miranda Bailey, who is not only the chief of surgery, but also a mother and a wife. Each of these characters and many more show Shonda's wide variety of representing women and how real and complex these characters are, as compared to other more stereotypical dramas like Gossip Girl and Mad Men. As a woman herself, Shonda is quoted by ABC News saying that, "I think the character Meredith Grey, Ellen Pompeo, was already playing me. I think Sandra Oh was already playing me. I think Chandra Wilson is already playing me." She believes her characters to have certain pieces of herself and the many different sides she has as a complex woman and person. She doesn't believe that society should be able to put women into only one box, and she shows that progressive stride through her multidimensional representation of women in her shows. Another way that Shonda is creating shows that are socially progressive is through her racially diverse casts. In creating casting decisions, Shonda sees her universe as diverse and varied, just like the universe around us is diverse and varied. She is again quoted saying that, "In Shondaland, our shows look like how the world looks. To me, that was not some difficult, brave, special decision I made. It was a human one, because I am human." Shonda Rhimes has made history by casting Kerry Washington as the lead character in Scandal. A quote from the Philadelphia NPR, or National Public Radio, states that, "Scandal is the first network drama with an African-American leading lady in 37 years. That's a massive accomplishment for television, and another example that Shonda creates a world where people of all races are equally represented on the screen and in positions of power. Other examples are shown in Grey's Anatomy. Christina Yang, an Asian American woman, becomes the head of the cardiothoracic department, and later the leader of a whole cutting-edge medical research hospital. The show begins with a black man, Richard Weber, being the chief of surgery, and is now featuring a black woman as the chief of surgery, Miranda Bailey. And finally, Callie Torres is another main character of Latin descent who is the head of ortho. Shonda continuously shows racial diversity and puts these racially diverse casts in positions of power, because that is the way of progressive social change, and that's the way she desires the world to be. Just like with her representations of women as complex, who aren't constrained to just one box, Shonda represents people with non-traditional sexual orientations as complex and dimensional people. This is best shown through the relationship between Callie Torres and Robin, a lesbian couple, and the portrayal of Cyrus Bean. Kevin Fallon of the Daily Beast writes that the progressiveness of Cyrus in Scandal, watching it unfold so beautifully and featuring a man grappling with those things later in life, as opposed to the wide-eyed questioning teens we're so used to seeing, was a landmark delight. Shonda wrote a story about a shrewd politician who's a character completely fleshed out, aside from his struggling with being gay, because that's only one part of his story. That's not the thing that wholly defines him. Fallon also writes that she's also serving some of the most groundbreaking portrayals of gay people and ethnic minorities we've ever seen on TV. In a very simple, counterintuitive way, she makes them just as crazy in love, and for the love of God, frustrating as their straight white counterparts. This is a perfect representation of how Shonda believes the world should see gay and lesbian couples. By representing them as normal in her shows, she illustrates how the realities outside of the television realm should represent these couples, just like everyone else. So, in conclusion, today I've gone through the 3 ways that I believe Shonda Rhimes to be creating television shows that urge social progression forward by discussing her 1, multidimensional representation of women, 2, racially diverse cast, and 3, representing people with non-traditional sexual orientations as complex people. It is my hope that I have given evidence to show you that Shonda Rhimes is pushing television in a more progressive direction through those 3 representations of both women, different sexual orientations, and racially diverse casts. Shonda Rhimes is a Black woman who has created a television empire for herself, and has done so in a way that fights against stereotypical representations of all kinds of people by doing one simple thing. She follows one simple thought, that human beings are human beings. We are all complex and have aspects of ourselves that, in her words, are dark and twisty. But we should treat each other with respect and equality no matter our gender, race, or sexual orientation. I dream of a world like that of Shondaland, and I hope that you do too. Thank you very much.